In this video, I want to talk about the geometry course and what my expectations are for you so that you kind of know where to aim and what to shoot for as you continue throughout the course. Geometry leads to algebra, which leads to solutions. Now, normally what you've been used to so far in previous courses leading up to this one, you've probably been concentrating over here, algebra that leads to a solution, meaning you've been given algebraic expressions, usually in the form of an equation, and then you use properties of algebra then to solve or determine the value of x or y or something like that. So you might be given the expression x plus 3 equals 12, and then you use properties to determine that x is equal to 9. That's been the focus of the courses. Geometry is a different focus. Geometry is the explanation behind the algebraic expression. In other words, how do we know x plus 3 equals 12? Who says that? What's the reason behind that? And the geometry is the explanation behind that. So our focus this year is going to be given over to reasons that back up or to provide explanations as to why the expression that you wrote is true to begin with. And all of these explanations and reasons are either going to be theorems or postulates or definitions that we learn throughout the year. So if this is a geometry course and geometry is about explaining the reasons behind algebraic expressions, then what is the focus of my grading going to be on? It's going to be focusing on what's your reason behind the expression. My focus is not over here on that you can determine that x is equal to 9. That may be true, but that's not the focus of the course. The focus of the course isn't do you know how to do algebraic properties to arrive at a solution. We already know you know how to do that because that's the prerequisite to this course. What we're looking at in this course is what's the reason behind the mathematical expression. So I'm going to be concentrating on and grading on and spending a lot of time talking about what's the reason behind that. And I'm going to ask that question a lot this year. How do you know that? How do you know that? And your answer is never going to be, well, because it's common sense, or because it looks like it, or because I think so. Every reason is going to be a theorem that states that, or a postulate, or a definition that says, well, this is true. So we're really focusing on the reason behind the algebraic expression, not the solution. Now, we will be determining a lot of solutions. We will be determining the value of x and y's and z's and all that throughout the year. But what I really need you to get from this right now is that's not the focus of the course. So it's not about, I got the answer, x is 12, that's the right answer. The focus is, well, how do I know that x equals 12 is right? Besides, it's in my answer book. What's the reason? What's the postulate? What's the theorem? What's the definition behind the algebraic expression that you use to arrive at your answer? So again, that is my focus. That's where your focus needs to be. And again, it's going to take a little bit of a change because again, you're used to just determining the value. But that's not the focus of this course. So geometry is about understanding the relationship within the figure, the diagram that you're looking at. Understanding that relationship then allows you to write the algebraic expression. So this is the where the expression comes from, and then your algebra skills from previous courses is what then allows you to arrive at the solution. And again, I'm going to say this 3 or 4 or 5 times throughout the rest of this video. The focus is not the solution. That you can come up with x equals 12 is not the focus of geometry. The focus is, well, can you explain why? First of all, how you got the expression that you used to arrive at 12, and then actually arrive at the number 12, right? So it's reasons behind, not just the solution. So I'm going to give you 4 steps here, and if you kind of keep these 4 things in mind as you move throughout the course this year, the focus will naturally come to where it should be, all right? So step number 1, as you look at a problem, you want to think about theorems, postulates, or definitions that you've learned either in the lesson or maybe previous lessons. Which theorem, postulate, definition applies to the figure that I'm looking at right now? Okay, so let's say we're looking at a parallelogram. In a parallelogram, one of the theorems of a parallelogram says that the opposite sides are equal. So when I look at a parallelogram, I immediately want to think, oh, I know something about parallelograms. Opposite sides are equal, and I know that because theorem XYZ says. Okay, so the reason, as I look at it, I know the opposite sides are equal. Well, how do you know that? Theorem XYZ. That's the first part, that's the most important part of geometry. Then once I understand, or once I know the theory or postulate that I want to use, I can then write an algebraic expression based upon that postulate, or theorem in this case. So I know that this left side is equal to this right side, so therefore AB is equal to CD. So that's an algebraic expression, that's an equation, AB equals CD. And how do I know that AB is equal to CD? Again, theorem XYZ. That's the focus of the geometry course right there. Recognizing the relationship and then writing the mathematical expression that comes from that relationship. Everything else we do after that is an algebra course, which you already know, so while we're going to go ahead and do that, it's not the focus of the course, and that will be part of the points that you receive, but the major portion is going to be on these two steps because this is a geometry course, so I'm grading more heavily on whether you understand the relationships in the figure, and then can you use that relationship to then write an expression. Once you have the expression, then you can go ahead and substitute in the different values from the problem. Okay, AB is x plus 3, so I put that in for AB. CD is 7x minus 5. Okay, I put that in. Now I have a variable expression or an algebraic expression, which I then use the properties of algebra to solve and to find the actual value of x. Okay, so if you follow those 4 steps, you're going to be very successful. But again, the focus, your focus, might be a change of focus, is going to be up here where we're looking at reasons, we're looking at relationships, and then writing algebraic expressions based upon that relationship. So that's the focus of the course, and that's what we'll be focusing on throughout the year. And if you follow these 4 steps, you'll be very successful.